Where do you sit on the 1 to 10 physique scale? Well, in this video, we're going to go over 3 physiques that were submitted to our physique analyses. For context, we offer physique analysis as a service, so people submit their physiques, they consent whether or not they want to be on a video. And these are 3 examples that we got yesterday, and you can use the ratings that we gave these guys to sort of judge where you would sit on that scale, or you can submit your own, up to you. So this is the first guy. So right off the bat, guys, this is a top of the range physique, okay? For most guys, I'm going to be honest, and this might sound harsh, but you probably can't achieve this naturally if you don't have the same genetics as this guy. Once again, I don't know if he's natural. I genuinely do think he probably is, to be honest. It's not screaming unnatural. If we just have a quick look, arms are clearly the strong point. Chest looks good. This is a really good physique, man. So what we wrote is our general first impressions was unreal physique, especially considering the on and off training. These guys submit their training experience as well, so we mentioned that in parts of the analysis. Your proportions are extremely well balanced, muscle development on point, and there are only a few minor flaws. Great genetics, elite level muscle insertions. Keep doing what you're doing. We always start with lacking areas, and straight away looking at this physique, right, there's no sort of major lacking areas. But the first one that just stands out is the shoulders, okay? The shoulders are only lacking because the arms are fucking huge. Okay, the arms are massive. Like, look at this photo here. So the shoulders are just kind of getting swallowed by the arm a little bit, okay? And this does take away from his aesthetics. Not majorly, but it does stand out, okay? His forearms as well. And I put in like very slightly, okay? It's not taking away from his physique almost at all, but just once again, his arm is so big that it would do him justice having bigger forearms. And then obviously for visible strengths, it's the arms straight away, the chest, and the abs, especially because you can tell he's actually holding a little bit of body fat, and yet the abs are still coming through, but the ab insertions are a bit asymmetrical, which we'll go into. We gave this guy an overall aesthetic rating of 8.2, so to understand where that sits on our scale, you can have a look at the 1 to 10 physique scale video we made. We usually give pretty harsh ratings, so an 8.2 is extremely generous. You might be flipping out at the camera right now, like, how can you give this guy an 8.2? You know, his frame could be better, and yeah, you're right, but when you have such standout features like just general size, massive arms, phenomenal abs, that can bump your physique rating a lot, okay? This is a standout physique. You see this guy instantly in a shirt or without a shirt, and you go, this is a fucking insane physique. We're looking at the real world look and appeal of your physique, guys. In terms of symmetry, we gave him an 8 because everything else was perfect besides the abs. We didn't get the lower development in these photos. Once again, barely any of you guys submit your legs as part of the physique photos, so we can't really judge that. And we couldn't actually judge this guy's back either because he didn't submit any photos of his back. But we gave 3 stars for delts, 4 stars for chest, 5 stars for the arms, and 4 stars for the abs. Now, in terms of body fat percentage, we gave this guy 14 to 15%. Now, you might think it's much lower, and it would appear that way by looking at these photos, but I just think his muscle insertions are very good and his abs are very deep set. And you also have to think about the fact that he does have a lot of muscle mass. And when you got more muscle mass, obviously it's going to appear like you are lower body fat. A lot of the bodybuilders and stuff, they're not as low body fat as you would think. If this guy was skinnier holding on to the same body fat, he would almost look nowhere near as impressive. I mean, you could easily give this guy 13% as well. It's super dependent on the person. At the end of the day, it's just a number. But as you can see, like in the lower stomach here, it is holding a little bit of fat. The abs up top are showing through a lot more, and that's just because they're very deep set insertions. I mean, I believe this could possibly be at a different time frame as these photos. He does look leaner here. In this photo, he could be 12%. I'd go like 12-13% in this photo and the other one. So it just really depends. Like I often tell you guys, when you submit your photos, just send through a completely relaxed, non-tensed photo. I can give you way more of an accurate rating when you do that, okay? It gets confusing for me when you do like different angles, the intense down lighting, and you're tensing your arms. It is more difficult to tell. Then in terms of the structure, we said his clavicle width was broad to average. His waist width was average. It appears to be smaller because everything else is so developed. Limb length is average, slightly longer arms, as we can see. In this photo, he actually does have quite long arms or a shorter torso. And then we just gave him the training, diet, and supplement recommendations based off his training experience, so you can't really see that from the photos. All right, next we have a 6.8 physique. So with this guy, our first general impressions was great overall shape, great legs, very balanced proportions, no noticeable flaws besides the arms, but could use a little bit more size. As you can see with this frame, the arms kind of are a little bit of a weak point, so we put that in the lacking areas, as well as the traps and the delts. I'd say the delts and the traps being the biggest lacking area here, but I said for his strong points was his chest and his leg. You actually look down here, you can see his quads are actually, they actually do have quite a bit of size. Now, this guy did say he was training inconsistently for 6 years, so I can only imagine what the physique would look like with 6 years of consistent training. In terms of the back, I just said it was pretty much on par, so it's not a weak or a strong point. And as you can see, he said that these photos were pumped and non-pumped as well. So this is the difference a pump can make between this and this photo, and also lighting and the way you're posing as well. It's crazy how much different you can look with a pump and just angles and lighting. In terms of his shoulder to waist ratio, we gave him 1.8. Okay, we actually measure it on the screen as diameter. If you were to do circumference, it would be roughly 0.1 lower. So he would be about 1.7, which is very good. Once again, he's holding a phone which can flare like your delt out a little bit. So it's probably a little bit higher than it should be, but either way, I don't have photos to measure it accurately, but this is very good shoulder to waist ratio. He's got a very narrow waist, so it makes sense. Yeah, and then in terms of symmetry, there is literally no noticeable asymmetry, so we gave him a 9. And in terms of upper lower development, we said 8, because his legs are slightly further ahead than the upper body, I'd say, but it's very close. It's pretty even. So we gave a pretty even spread in terms of the muscle groups as well. In terms of body fat percentage, we gave this guy 15%. It does look about 14% here with the pump and better lighting. But looking at this photo, it could be closer to 16, maybe 17%. We're never going to say it's exactly this body fat percentage because it could be anywhere from 15 to 17 with this guy, I would say. Fat distribution is pretty even, less around the abs, I would say, because if you look at the chest and the arms, there's not as much definition as what's coming through with the core here. Yeah, and I'd say that's honestly a W, right? Because you're going to bulk and you're going to look more aesthetic while on the bulk. You see, bulking and cutting serves different people in different ways. Like for me personally, when I bulk, it goes straight to my stomach. It goes straight to like the places that I don't want it to go. So if you can bulk and your chest will look fuller, your arms will look fuller, that's a W. That's definitely a plus. And then in terms of the structure and genetic factors, I'd say this is a pretty average clavicle width, an average to narrow waist width. It is pretty narrow compared to the upper body. That's why the shoulder to waist was very good. He has shorter limbs, as you can see, like where his hands come down to is a bit shorter than the average person. And then in terms of his muscle insertions, I'd say they're pretty good, especially where his back inserts. You can see he's creating a nice V taper, especially with this level of muscle mass. And in terms of the action plan, once again, this is based off the experience, but I said to lock in the consistency, as he said he was inconsistent on and off. More delt and arm isolation, because the delts are a weak point along with the arms, I would say. And he was running an upper lower split, so I said continue that if it's working for you, or consider a push-pull leg or full body, especially to bring up the arms. And then for his diet strategy, I said continue lean bulking at 1 to 2 pounds a month, because I think he wrote in the experience that he felt like he was gaining weight slowly and he wanted to gain weight quicker. And I said, no, just keep gaining weight slowly, man. There's nothing wrong with that, going on a lean bulk. I say this almost every video, lean bulk, but it's because it's the best strategy. You're going to put on minimal fat and you're going to continue to put on muscle mass. Especially this deep into training, you're very susceptible to putting on fat when you're in a big surplus. And just in terms of how you look and feel as well, like you're going to continue to look great while you're putting on size, which is ideal, right? Realistically, that's what we want. We want to look good, feel good, and also make progress rather than like looking like shit for winter and just to look good for a little bit in summer. So I said he could also optionally start with a short little mini cut phase, 4 to 6 weeks, just to drop the body fat to a really low point, like 10 or 12%, which gives him more room for the lean bulk. This is what I'm doing currently. I was bulking for 6 months, got to about 16% body fat. Within 4 weeks, I've cut it down to almost 12% body fat. And then from there, I can just continue to bulk for the rest of the year. It doesn't need to be long. If you guys want a strategy like this, by the way, you can talk directly to us inside the Skool. And we've also just made the physique analysis a part of the Skool group. So if you stay for 2 months, you automatically get the physique analysis for free. Plus you get customized diet plans, customized training plans. And we're about to add about 100 videos that are in the vault right now, 100 exclusive videos based around this kind of stuff. So we're going to bump the price up massively. So if you're going to jump in, I'd jump in right now, and then you'll also get the physique analysis, which is a massive plus. And finally, we have a 4.5 physique. So this guy said he hasn't had much training experience recently because of an injury. So this is almost just rating the starting point of a physique. So I said overall good chest, but lacking arms, assuming because of the injury was involving the arms. The body fat is too high to see much definition. But I said in terms of the physique, the back actually has some decent mass along with the quads. I mean, this isn't the best angle, but if you can see here, he's actually got quite good quad development. Like you can see it's actually coming out over the knee, especially considering the muscle mass on the rest of the frame. So obviously lacking areas were the arms, traps, and delts. Visible strength was the back slightly. It's not a massive strong point, but it does appear to have a little bit more definition and size than the rest of the physique. His shoulder to waist diameter was 1.4. So this is pretty shit. I'm not gonna lie, but this is mainly because of his body fat percentage and just how he's structured, okay? So he's gonna benefit a lot from the gym, and once he strips down that fat, and he'll start to build more of a V-taper, okay? This is honestly similar to what I would look like if I just never trained. I'm not gonna lie, okay? I've got a decently wide waist. My clavicles are probably a bit longer than this, but like we said it here, getting lean would be the biggest difference because it would trim the waist. As you can see, he's holding a lot of fat around the waist and the torso in general, and that will just make the V-taper look so much better. I mean, even at this level of muscle mass, the best thing he can do is to cut weight and trim that waist down. In terms of left-right symmetry, we said 7, mostly symmetrical, but there is a minor ab imbalance. It's very hard to see here, but you can see it's slightly not symmetrical. Upper to lower development, also a 7 because the legs are slightly bigger. In terms of the muscle group assessment, delts were on the lower end, along with arms especially. The back and the chest were 3 stars, abs were 2, and 3 stars for the quads and hamstrings. So we estimated his body fat percentage to be about 18 to 19%. So realistically, he hasn't got that far to go, okay? He just needs to go into a calorie deficit, he needs to go into a cut, and then he would start to really take shape and start to look somewhat aesthetic. Yeah, I mean, it does appear like you would probably think he's higher than 18-19%, but that's just simply because of a lack of muscle mass. I mean, you can actually see here, there is a decent outline of the chest. You've got 2 abs that are coming through here. Around the shoulders, you can actually almost see a line coming through here and a little bit of separation. So a lot of bodybuilders will actually bulk up to this body fat percentage, but it'll just look leaner because they've got more muscle mass pushing through. So in terms of clavicle width, we said average, maybe on a little bit of the shorter end. His waist width was average to broad. Longer limbs, as you can see, his arms actually go like out of the photo. These muscle insertions are decent. It is harder to tell at this body fat percentage. In terms of training focus, I said lock in the consistency because that's your #1 battle. Switch the split to something more balanced because he was doing a bro split, which I think wouldn't be too good for an arm injury as you're smashing entire arm days in a bro split. Just not ideal. You'd be better off doing something like full body or push-pull leg where it's a bit more balanced distribution and you don't need to train arms directly. And ignore movements that cause pain. You're better off just not doing them than trying to push through an injury. Controlled isolation movements will help as well. I've noticed like my shoulder as well, I can't do things like bench press or much pressing movements at the moment, but machine isolation movements work perfect because it takes accessory muscles out of the equation. And in terms of the diet strategy, we said just start with a short cutting phase, 6 to 8 weeks, most likely aggressively to drop body fat to about 12 to 13%. That's the main thing this guy needs to do right now. And then after that, you can enter a lean mass building phase with a slight surplus and stack on the muscle. And then just prioritize protein, nutrient-dense whole foods, and track calories accurately. That's a nice blanket sort of recommendation to go by with almost everyone. And that's it, guys. Those were 3 different physiques that we rated vastly different ratings. So maybe you can determine sort of where you sit in terms of that scale. And I can already see the comments. Some of you guys would be like, oh, I'd rate this guy this, I'd rate this guy that. You guys are wrong. Sure, that's okay, bro. You go sell your own physique analysis. You go run your own business. That's fine, okay? This is just how we do it. This is our physique analysis. You don't have to get a physique analysis. You don't even have to watch these videos. It's there if you want it, okay? That's sort of the whole point of it. And the other thing is, guys, I'm sick of getting the Instagram messages, can you rate my physique for free? No, that's not how the world works. We run a business here. I mean, it's insane value, the service we give. Like, we spend about 30 minutes actually thoroughly looking through the physiques and trying to rate them properly, and we charge like minimum wage, honestly, bro. And people are insanely happy with the detail that we go into, and it's super insightful, some of the information we give these guys. So if you want this service done for you, it's that first link in the description once again. And you can choose to not be in the videos if you want, obviously. We ask you if you want to be in the videos or not. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Appreciate all the support recently, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.